Introducing the Adlao Pokemon region, a Fakemon region based on the Philippines and created by FkmnTrainerAdam, and I've linked their info in the description so you can check out their other work too. Let's get straight into the complete Pokedex for the region. Pupflua, grass type. Pupflua are very friendly and always take joy when being petted by its trainer. It is very protective of its friends and will bark non-stop when something is happening to them, based on a wolf. Corflua, grass type. Corflua are more aggressive than its previous form. It is still, however, very clumsy when it runs, but it makes sure it doesn't topple plants in a garden. It has a wood collar that it can manipulate freely. Woofflua, grass type. Its collar is said to be made of living wood. Woofflua can extend these branches to almost 20 feet. The larger its branches, the older and wiser the Woofflua is, based on a wolf and the flower wolf from Yu-Gi-Oh! Cubby, fire type. Cubby, though a warm Pokemon, can sometimes get unruly with inexperienced trainers. If they create a close bond, Cubby will start to be friendly to its trainer. Cubby has retractable claws but hide them most of the time. Sometimes when they get excited, the claws pop out. Based on a tiger. Taigemba, fire type. Though sometimes they act aloof, Taigemba can be quite protective, especially with its friends. When agitated, the stripes on its back glow brightly as if they are on fire. Tiger Rage, fire type. Despite its brute strength, it mainly utilizes its sharp claws as a primary weapon. Tiger Rage concentrates heat into its claws, enabling them to cut through steel. Most of the time, however, it's pretty calm. Nimble, water type. This playful Pokemon is usually found near clean ponds and rivers. Nimble can move really fast underwater and will dart from one place to another to catch its prey. Based on a dragonfly nymph. Nimbubble, water and flying type. It has a very aggressive nature and will chase its prey without relent. The shell on its neck extends towards its body when Nimbubble draws close to evolution. Based on a dragonfly. Dracodont, water and flying type. Dracodont are expert flyers and can easily pilot itself in the skies. Its wings are tremendously strong and can create powerful sonic booms. You will know if a Dracodont is rushing towards you if you hear a sound similar to that of a helicopter. Sewarunt, normal type. Normally found in sewers and sewerage pipes, Sewarunt has adapted to its dark habitat so it has little use of its eyes. They have a very acute sense of smell, based on sewer rats. Sewer rat, normal and poison type. Unlike its pre-evolution, sewer rat roams the open streets during nighttime. Its eyes become red because they are sensitive to light. Its appendages are covered in toxic filth that merely its touch is poisonous. Cinnaby, normal type. Known for storing berries and other items in its bushy tail, the berries sometimes ferment and produce a substance that, once ground and brewed correctly by Bargo farmers, becomes an aromatic coffee. Based on the binturong and cinnamon. Cinnaron, normal type. Because of their voluminous tail, Cinnaron forms it into a backpack and hoards its berries inside. Cinnaron uses this to its advantage, consuming the berries to heal itself during battle. This Pokemon is a well-known companion for chefs and baristas because of their fermentability. The fermented berries coming from well-trained Cinnaron are known to have an extremely strong flavor. Lilbill, normal and flying type. It can easily crush nuts using its beak. Young ones sometimes have a hard time holding their head upright because its beak is quite heavy. Based on the Hornbill. Megabill, normal and flying type. It has an extremely hard beak that can break rocks. Males have adorned beaks that it flaunts to attract females during the mating season. Its large beak is super durable, making it Megabill's main weapon. Gigabill, normal and flying type. They are elusive and rarely seen in the wild. A Metabill cannot evolve into Gigabill until it challenges another Gigabill or Metabill for the leadership of its flock. Bugleaf, bug and grass type. By standing still on branches, it mimics the leaves. If it gets noticed, Bugleaf will retreat in fear, based on a leaf insect. Insleaf, bug and grass type. The top of Insleaf's leafy shelter is fastened by a special silk that it produces during metamorphosis. Because of this silk, the shelter is pretty durable. Arnastix, bug and fighting type. After metamorphosis, Arnastix's leafy shelter wilts out, leaving its body protected by a durable, wood-like protection. It uses this shell when fighting other Arnastix, based on a stick insect. Gekroak, normal type. Gekroak use their voices to make other Gekroak know of their territories. A Gekroak's call is unique and cannot be used by another. The organ on its cheeks amplifies the sound Gekroak makes, based on the Tokay Gecko. Echo Gecko, normal type. Its body has a special organ that absorbs and processes sound into energy. The organ can also convert Echo Gecko's energy to amplify its sound-based attacks. Some accounts say Echo Gecko can level a small hill just by using its sonic powers, based on the Tokay Gecko and headphones. Jewtweet, water type. Jewtweet live near ports and loading docks. Sometimes they imitate the workers there, based on a duck and seabirds. Sailard, water and fighting type. It imitates dock workers flawlessly that it gains strength enough to pick up crates. Sailite can also navigate through the ocean even on a piece of driftwood. It has a split evolution. Aviatros, water and fighting type. An expert navigator, sailors oftentimes accompany themselves with an aviatros so that they won't get lost at sea. It has a rivalry with Cormorant, its alternate evolution, based on a duck, seabirds, and sailors. Cormorant, water and dark type. It is said that Sailard once trained with pirates and thus evolved into Cormorant. Unlike Aviatros, it is ruthless and navigates to where there is treasure to loot, based on a duck, seabirds, and Flintheart Glomgold from DuckTales. Chihuahua, normal type. Chihuahua has partly unstable cells that react to how they are tended by their trainers. In the past, Chihuahua were specially bred for contests, based on the Asong Pinoy, which refers to a diverse population of mongrel, free-ranging dogs found in the Philippines. This has a 5-way split evolution. Foxeri, normal and fairy type. A fan favourite of its region, trainers often train Foxeri because of its appeal in and out of battle. It uses graceful dances along with its moves to beguile its audience. Deep under Foxeri's cute exterior is a mystical power, based on a fox. Walltake, normal and electric type. Some trainers have trouble training Walltake because of their explosive personality. If it senses incompetence from its trainer, it will shock the trainer mercilessly, based on a wolf. Furhound, normal and fire type. Furhound loves to keep its fur clean at all times. In battle, its fur can glow a bright red and small embers can be seen scattering from its flowing fur, based on the Afghan Hound. Interwolf, normal and psychic type. Even if it looks derpy and completely unaware of its surroundings, its senses are quite acute and attuned to psychic forces. Interwolf will absorb this psychic energy to greatly amplify its intelligence, based on a pug. Mangiote, normal and ground type. Mangiote live in deserts. Its fur is so dusty that just moving can scatter dust around. It uses this to its advantage, however, by controlling the sands, making the sand cover its body for extra durability or scatter them to blind its enemies. Its claws are sharp and excellent for digging, based on a mangy coyote. Botachi, electric type. Botachi are well known for its speed. It can run around so fast that the human eye can only see a bolt of white. They raid poultry coops in search for eggs. Their tails can be hardened and akin to iron, based on weasels and lightning bolts. Turbotachi, electric type. It can chase its prey in mere seconds. If a Turbotachi runs in a circle, it can create a vortex of wind and electricity. Sometimes it moves so fast that only a blue bolt is visible. Edgehog, normal and ice type. Though more common in colder regions, Edgehog have also been seen in tropical forests. It keeps its shell protected by using Ice Beam. Edgehog's back is lined with fur that absorb moisture in the air. Due to it living in freezing areas of the region, the moisture solidify and turn into ice spikes, based on a hedgehog and an iceberg. Porcupine, normal and ice type. Porcupine can control its ice shell to the point where it can create ice spikes from it. The shell is quite heat resistant, which baffles scientists as porcupines can be found in tropical areas, based on a hedgehog and a tank. Slugmud, bug and ground type. It lives in places where mud is abundant. When endangered, it sinks itself into the mud, with only its eyes and back antenna surfacing, based on a snail. Mud snail, bug and ground type. Mud snail has a mustache made of mud that it uses to protect itself. The shell on its back is constantly covered with mud, making it impenetrable to known tools, based on a snail and a mustache. Pitterhood, poison and flying type. Its feathers retain their toxicity even if they fall off from its body during molting season. These feathers are collected by natives to make poison arrows, based on the hooded Pitterhui and a hood. Plaguewing, poison and flying type. Plaguewing has poisonous feathers like its previous form. It has good control of this poison to keep them from poisoning its allies. Feathers that fall off Plaguewing are carefully gathered by natives and sun-dried. Crushing the feathers and mixing them with different herbs and berries can create strong love potions to potent poisons. Psypole, water type. Psypole are thought to have latent psychic abilities. Most of the time, however, they just play in the water, based on a tadpole. Amphisage, water and psychic type. Amphisage is known for its total concentration, even in the fit of battle. If its concentration is broken, it can release a powerful psychic feedback that is considered quite dangerous, based on a sage and a frog. Dustir, electric and ground type. Due to static, dust and sand clump around its body. It makes use of this by grabbing a handful of dust and throwing it at enemies, blinding them, based on a rabbit and a dust bunny. Banectric, electric and ground type. Banectric uses its static to gather up sand into its hands, making it a rock-hard fist. It can smash big boulders with it. It also uses them to break hard surfaces when digging. Pigchop, fighting type. Despite looking really small, Pigchop is actually pretty strong and can hold its own in battle with stronger opponents. During December, Pigchop are quite rare to find in the wild, based on a pig. Barbacon, fighting type. In deep forests, it is said that there is a pack of Barbican living like a community. They are quite fierce and violent. Few expeditions in search of this community have returned to tell the tale. Conny Pine, grass and ice type. The leaves on its body are able to withstand extremely cold temperatures. They also have the ability to keep warmth within the leaves, keeping Conny Pine warm during winter, based on a Christmas tree. Pine Green, grass and ice type. Despite seasonal changes, pine green's leaves never change their colour. While most pine green live atop snowy mountains, pine green are surprisingly also very common in Adlao's tropical climate. Frozimp, ice and ghost type. This mischievous ice spirit plays pranks on unsuspecting visitors of its forest home. Some species also live in dark caves, still playing tricks on unwary guests, based on a frost imp. Geefrost, ice and ghost type. Geefrost live undisturbed in mountain tops of cold areas. A legend says that once a Geefrost got so angry, it summoned an avalanche of rocks and snow from the mountains, based on a frost giant. Cracklin, fire and flying type. Its sweat is highly combustible and actually helps fuel Cracklin as it propels itself skyward during special events. Though often mistaken as a dragon type, it is not. It has an ability to release extreme kinetic energy like an explosion, based on fireworks and a dragon. Dracotechnic, fire and flying type. Dracotechnic's whiskers shine brightly as it flies in the night sky. During the new year, it creates a dazzling spectacle by shining them brightly like fireworks. Frostling, fairy and ice type. Frostling constantly need cold temperatures to keep its puff from melting. Some believe that when the puff melts, Frostling will die, based on a sweet pastry. Angelaise, fairy and ice type. Angelaise covers its body with a hard sugar coating that keeps its body from melting in the region's hot climate. It uses a flurry of sugar and ice to stop its enemies frozen solid. Celebration form. When a Frostling becomes close with its trainer, and it so happens to evolve during its trainer's birthday, it evolves into Angelaise's celebration form. Angelaise's celebration form always brings happiness and joy to its trainer and teammates, based on a birthday cake. Calfheft, ground and water type. It lives nearby wetlands where it wallows in mud. The mud acts as a sunscreen that protects them from extreme temperatures, based on a carabao, a water buffalo in the Philippines. Bufferheft, ground and water type. It uses its strength for more productive activities. It's rare to find a Bufferheft dozing off. Bufferheft is a staple of the farmers in the region because of their powerful physical strength. It is a gentle Pokemon and will only attack when it is provoked. Howlam, dark type. The fleece it wears is stolen from wool farms in the regions. When attacked, the fleece falls off, exposing Howlam. Based on the saying, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Howlova, dark type. It deceives its opponents by playing calm, adapting this trait from Mareep and Wooloo. However, when opportunity arrives, it will attack mercilessly. Kakapalm, grass type. It is flightless and digs the ground to forage for roots and seeds to feed on. The soil it digs becomes great garden soil, producing big and juicy crops, based on the Kakapo. Kapama, grass type. While its wings are developed, Kapama has grown extremely accustomed to life on the ground. It gathers berries and herbs and stores them in its thicket. Camaranda, grass and fairy type. By masterfully mixing berries and herbs, it creates potent potions capable of healing injuries and rashes. The leaves on its head form a crown where Camaranda is able to put fruits and berries it can feed on, based on the Kakapo and Camaranda with her fruit hat. Growlbull, ground type. A Pokemon that lives deep in caves. Its diet consists of crystals and thus causes it to shine when hit by light. Its claws, horn, and growths are covered in crystal-like substances, based on cave goblins. Growlblin, ground type. Its skin has bone-like protrusions but are actually crystals that develop inside its body. The crystals are sharp and can cut through trees and boulders. Grandmine, ground and rock type. It lives in the deepest regions of the mountains and constantly feeds on the crystals growing there. When the crystals run out, Grandmine will dig its way up to the surface and look for a new mountain. Shadow, dark and flying type. It can sneak up on its prey without a sound. Shadow will throw sharpened feathers like a kunai to do powerful damage to its enemies, based on a barn owl and a ninja. Charmander, psychic and flying type. Deep in mysterious forests, Charmander live in small groves and thickets where it concocts potions of all sorts. In ancient times, people would come to Charmander to get medicines and ointments, based on a condor and a shaman. Shelldrake, fighting and flying type. Mastering the flow of chi, Shelldrake can make its body operate 100%. After a battle though, Shelldrake meditates for a day or more, based on a mallard and a Shaolin monk. Rockid, rock type. Rockid are known to live atop craggy mountains. Their nimble body helps them traverse steep ledges, based on a mountain goat. Kragoat, rock type. Its horn helps determine the weather of mountains, hence it being a companion of mountain climbers. Its rocky fleece preserves heat in its body during cold climates. Goatane, rock and ice type. It can withstand the coldest temperatures up on the mountaintops. Rarely can they be seen in the meadows. The goatane with the largest horns is the leader of the herd. Shockitty, electric type. After it is born, Shockitty are already up on their feet. Their fur is always electrically charged that touching it is a shocking surprise, based on a kitten. Sprinther, electric type. This high-speed Pokemon chases down its prey with ease. It can easily shift its direction even at high speed, making it a very capable predator, based on a panther. Nihilectic, electric and fairy type. An odd Pokemon first discovered in a litter of Shockitty. Unlike Shockitty, Nihilectic manifests far more mystical powers. It is still unknown what produced Nihilectic, but research is ongoing to determine its origin, based on a kitten. Chewchilla, ice and electric type. This Pokemon has the ability to freeze air in its surroundings. Within its vicinity, everything is electrically charged, based on a chinchilla. Sharpisk, water and steel type. Its body is significantly sharp because of the current that carries small particles of sand. This sand sharpens its steel-like fins, creating a very sharp body, based on a barbed tetra and an arrowhead. Sharkrool, water and steel type. Its snout is sharpened to a point that it can use to pierce its prey. They can also swash across the water, stunning its prey with sonic waves, based on a mackerel and sharp knives. Shaolin, water and steel type. Legends say that when the region was invaded by colonizers, a hero and his Shaolin defended the land at the dawn of that battle, based on a swordfish and a Chris sword. Morlock, water type. Morlock live in deep parts of lakes and oceans. They are known to ambush their prey, dragging them into the depths. Based on a Seabird, a male version of a mermaid in Filipino folklore, and a Morlock from a H.G. Wells novel. Morlocking, water type. A Morlocking often leads a pack of Morlocks, especially during feeding time. It will always take the first bite of every catch. Mermini, water and fairy type. Mermini drifts in the open seas along with its choir. It has a sweet voice that is said to be able to calm even the stormiest seas, based on a mermaid. Marroquin, water and fairy type. Marroquin are seldom seen in open waters. Because of its helpful nature, it is known to help shipwrecked sailors back to land. They have beautiful voices that can easily lull their enemies to sleep. Fairlion, grass and fairy type. Fairlion's home is the air current it drifts in. There's a theory that Fairlion just drifted into the region through air currents, and because of this, a Fairlion must have circled the world dozens of times a year, based on a Dandelion and a lion. Skylion, grass and fairy type. They are very light and often wrap their tails around branches to stay in place. People say that if a Skylion drifts away while leaving its tail, the tail becomes a new Fairlion. Hochiki, fire type. It is well known as a communal species, proven by entire populations making their habitat in large trees. It loves to eat berries and other fruits that it gathers in its habitat, based on a marmoset. Goryoto, fire type. Majority of Goryoto are recorded to seclude themselves from others, specifically its previous form Hochiki. They build their nest of seared leaves upon larger trees or caves away from their community. Chorex, fire and rock type. A Pokemon resurrected from fossils found in the region. It seemed to live near places where volcanic activity was present. It eats volcanic stones to help in digestion, based on a T-Rex. Radirex, fire and rock type. It is considered an apex predator of its time by modern scientists. Its body constantly emits powerful heat that can melt steel. Ternair, flying and rock type. A Pokemon resurrected from fossils found in the region. It seemed to live at the edges of cliffs and fed on shellfish, based on a Pteranodon. Pteranodon, flying and rock type. It was believed that prehistoric man hunted Pteranodon for its wings, evident of most fossils missing their wings. By refining and sharpening the wings, prehistoric man may have developed the first sword. Titanoth, bug and dragon type. A large beetle that lives in the deepest parts of tropical forests. Captives are bred at the Avonperch Aviary. Titanoth swarms invaded the region years ago. While they are friendly, Titanoth have been hunted down to endangerment because of its brute strength and mysterious powers, based on a giraffe weevil and a Goliath beetle. Diggersdon, steel and ground type. Its jaws are capable of crushing big boulders with ease. Because of its long cooperations with humans, its once armor has become part of its body, making Diggersdon extremely durable, based on an excavator with demolition claw and an amygdalon and similar dinosaurs. Incuid, water and poison type. They travel the ocean floors like tanks ready to shoot. It releases an explosion of ink towards its enemy to scare them off or blind them while Incuid make an escape, based on a squid and a sheriff badge. Gunkuid, water and poison type. Gunkuid is sometimes referred to as the sheriff of the seas because of its appearance. It can hit a target with pinpoint accuracy, even 100 miles away. Snapcroc, grass type. They live in flower patches where only their faces can be seen. It uses this camouflage to blend with the flowers and will quickly snap its jaws shut when a prey wanders unknowingly close, based on a snapdragon and a crocodile. Snapdrag, grass and dragon type. It lures its prey by leaving only its head, hands, and leafy wings visible on the foliage. Once prey comes near, it attacks with a powerful bite, based on a snapdragon and dragon fruit. Chillied, grass and fire type. Its body is covered in flake-like scales that shed once a month. Chefs make use of these flakes to spice up their dishes. It attacks by slapping its enemies with its peppers on its head. Based on Saling Laboyo, a small chili. Chiligon, grass and fire type. Their heads work in tandem with one another, contrary to presumptions. One head is said to have sweet scales while the other has spicy ones. Based on Saling Laboyo and the Hydra. Snowchick, ice type. Snowchick eggs are laid in nests under the snow. The nests are made of heat-absorbing materials to incubate the eggs, based on a baby chick and icicles. Snowrock, ice and flying type. It flies in the sky during winter, looking for prey. Blizzards are sure to follow wherever Snowrock rests. Its feathers have sharp crystals that clump together, then form sharp edges. Some people mistake a Snowrock sighting with Articuno, based on a rock and icicles. Bowfish, water and steel type. Mostly found in freshwater lakes, bowfish will concentrate hard in water and shoot it like an arrow, giving its name, based on an archerfish and a bow. Arowana, water and steel type. Arowana live both in rivers and in the sea. It can fire hardened water projectiles in rapid successions with ease, based on an archerfish and a crossbow. Bass Cannon, water and steel type. Despite being usually docile, Bass Cannon when angered can shoot a ball of hardened water from its gaping mouth to defend itself. It leads schools of bowfish in Arowana in the vast oceans, based on a basking shark and a submarine. Panpot, steel and fire type. Its black body is covered with soot caused by its internal heat. Sometimes it can spit out burning coals. Based on the Paleok, a traditional clay pot used in the Philippines, and a kalan, a type of small furnace. Goremetal, steel and fire type. Its body is internally burning to a temperature of up to 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Just touching a pot of water can make the water boil, based on a chef and a furnace. Bearboo, normal and ghost type. An abandoned animatronic that was possessed by a mischievous spirit. Bearboo is fond of jump-scaring trespassers, and it feeds upon their fright. Bearboo can phase through solid objects, making it a formidable opponent. Based on neglected toys and Five Nights at Freddy's. Techlight, steel and electric type. Techlight was once a helper robot used in industrial plants. It was imbued with moonlight in a mysterious night and gained sentience. Some say that the moonlight carried a mysterious energy that gives the Pokemon life. Based on the ancient gear golem from Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Iron Giant, and Super Mario. Technaut, steel and electric type. Technaut's body is very durable and can withstand heavy hits. It can also remove parts of its armor to make it faster when in battle. Technaut needs to replenish the energy coursing through its body by regularly absorbing energy, or else it ceases to function. Based on the ancient gear golem from Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Iron Giant, and Gutsman from Mega Man. Corradle, rock and water type. In a reef untamed by pollution, once in a few years, a corradle egg hatches that brings blessings to that reef. At least, that's what the legends say. Based on a sea turtle and coral. Sedimarine, rock and dragon type. Their shells are actually made from sediments that fall on their backs. However, because of pollution, Sedimarine has been difficult to spot in the wild. Sheltil, water and steel type. After settlement, their arms and legs lose their use and thus aren't fully developed when it forms a shell. Its neck, however, makes up for it by being able to stretch more than 3 times its normal length, based on a tortoise. Shellmount, dragon and steel type. Shellmount gains 2 new heads upon evolution, each with its own personality. Its tail is also an underdeveloped head that runs on instinct and will wildly attack anyone it senses it's coming near, based on a tortoise and a hydra. Chinder, fire type. Their mothers often lay them in other Pokemon's nests where they adapt to what those Pokemon are. Despite growing up like the other Pokemon, Chinder's natural instincts kick in very early and they abandon their adoptive nest, based on a chick. Blazerlisk, fire and dragon type. Blazerlisk scales are multicolored and glitter brilliantly when it breathes fire. Its enemies get distracted by this while they are being burned, based on a cockatrice and a basilisk. Vambat, dark and flying type. Found almost always in large abandoned castles, these Pokemon fly from one castle to another every night to absorb energy from its prey. Based on the Whack-Whack, a bird-like vampire creature from Philippines mythology. Vampira, dark and flying type. Vampira lead a colony of Vambat and lesser Vampira during the night. In daytime, it covers itself with its wings to protect its eyes from the sun's strong rays. Prictus, grass and fighting type. Prictus live deep in the desert, where sand dunes hide their vast interconnected set of tunnels. Prictus's body is covered in scratches because they are fond of battling, based on a cactus and a cyclops. Spyclops, grass and fighting type. Spyclops' body is covered in spikes it uses for both offense and defense. By tensing its muscles just enough, it protrudes these spikes, creating a spiky shield. Any more tensing and these spikes are shot from its body. It will just grow new spikes after a few minutes. Bess, poison and fairy type. While is often depicted as a symbol of envy, Bess are actually friendly and will always reward an act of true friendship. Based on Medusa and Valentina, a character from a Filipino comic book series called Dana. Ashaha, poison and fairy type. Ashaha have a special gland that produces pheromones that can control the actions of others. It uses these pheromones to freeze them in place while Ashaha escapes. Sawantina, poison and fairy type. Often believed to be dangerous because of its pheromone controlling ability, Sawantina are quite adept in using their pheromones and will carefully use them around its friends. Gorgopi, normal and poison type. It lives in the high tops of mountains and is seldom seen in the wild. Because of its strange appearance, most scientists are still baffled by Gorgopi despite the advancement of technology. Based on a manticore and a gorgonopsid, a large extinct carnivore. Chimera, normal and poison type. Chimera is known for its strength and speed. Its claws are covered with powerful poison that can stop an enemy in its tracks. Most of the time, however, Chimera leaves the scene after its enemy is paralyzed. Based on a manticore and a chimera. Manticrown, dragon and poison type. It lives in mountaintops to avoid contact with humans. Despite looking so ferocious, Manticrown are a peaceful species and will protect its friends from being attacked. Never let a Manticrown attack you though, as it can cut through concrete by slashing out in outrage. Shrimple, steel and fighting type. Shrimple yearn to be a great fighter of noble deeds. Using powerful pumps in its claws, it can shoot fast and powerful punches. Based on the mantis shrimp. Lobster, steel and fighting type. Lobster is the heart of a hero and protects weaker Pokemon. It can boost its power and speed by pumping water out of its sharp pincers. Based on the mantis shrimp and jousting. Furtune, psychic type. Furtune loves to keep its fur clean at all times. It has the ability to see the future using the pearl that it holds. Some people believe Furtune steals the orb from other Pokemon. Based on a poodle and a clairvoyant. Furvoyant, psychic type. Furvoyant has only one eye and it uses it to see the future and predict its opponent's moves even before the battle starts, ensuring its win. Glowbug, bug and electric type. Groups of glowbug huddle near ponds of water during the night. They turn the serene scene into a sea of stars. Based on a glowworm. Glitterbulb, bug and electric type. Glitterbulb's tail can shine brightly. People of old used to train Glitterbulb to use them as illumination in the dark night. This often filled the air with cheery wonder. Based on a firefly. Branceros, grass and ice type. Successfully resurrected Branceros have acclimated themselves into modern-day Adlao region. Their foliage acts in two ways: preserve heat during the rains and act as a cooling mechanism during the hot summers. Based on the extinct woolly rhino, this begins the second grouping of fossil Pokemon in the region. Trenceros, grass and ice type. Its horn is discovered alive as fossils of this Pokemon horn are petrified during the fossilization process. Because of its leafy body, small Pokemon turn it into a miniature ecosystem. Based on Arseniotherrium, a twin-horned prehistoric animal. Icefan, ice type. Its fossil discovered recently. Icefan are theorized to have lived in colder locations in the Ice Age, given that they exhibit ice-type tendencies despite first discovered in the tropical Adlao region. Based on a woolly mammoth. Mastioglyce, ice type. Mastioglyce have special organs that are found on their feet. Scientists assume it used these to absorb heat on the ground during the Ice Age. Since their resurrection, Mastioglyce has been expelling steam from their blowholes. Based on a woolly mammoth and a geyser. Scub, ground type. While young, Scub have smaller numbers of plates. When they grow, these plates divide to cover most of its body. When it sleeps, it curls itself into a plated dome to protect its insides. It only allows people it trusts to touch its belly. Based on a pangolin and a smilodon. Pangaleo, ground type. Pangaleo is a weird Pokemon with its known specimen only existing in this region. It is unknown why it has scales on its body and if they serve other purposes other than defense. Lacry, ghost and fairy type. Often heard than seen, Lacry are heard weeping deep in thick woods. This is a trick and Lacry will envelop the victim in tears then absorb its energy. Based on White Lady Ghosts and La Llorona. Lacrymorsa, ghost and fairy type. Its weeping song is a sign that Lacrymorsa is hunting. If the weeping sounds begin to fade, it is said Lacrymorsa is very close by. Greedime, dark and steel type. Their eyes can sense any form of wealth and gravitate towards it. By using its dark powers, it can open a pocket dimension where it stashes what it can steal. There hasn't been known ways to breach this dimension. Based on an imp. Avarike, dark and steel type. Avarike is known to corrupt its own trainers, giving them negative thoughts. It then feeds on its trainer's thoughts and once filled, makes its trainer release it. Cabaracco, fighting type. At an early age, Cabaracco finds a forest and uses the wood there to form its battle sticks. Cabaracco adopts this forest as its own and guards it with its life. Based on a Tikbalang, a mythological half-human, half-horse from Filipino folklore. Centaurbi, psychic and rock type. Centauri have been found buried underground around the Inignite area. These creatures meditate for so long, their shells have become covered with dirt and stones. Based on a sentry egg, a preserved egg dish, and balut, a fertilized duck egg embryo which is cooked and is a popular street food in the Philippines. She-Comet, dragon and fairy type. The first recorded She-Comet sighting happened during a comet storm. It has long been accepted that She-Comet comes from outer space. Based on meteors and Ibong Adana, a magical bird from a famous old Filipino poem. This is the pseudo-legendary of the region. Asterave, dragon and fairy type. Asterave has a leftover shell from its time as She-Comet. This shell starts chipping off when it is ready for evolution. It can fly using its newly formed wings. Wherever it goes, it leaves a trail of stardust. Astrodana, dragon and fairy type. Its wings are made with a material that reflects the smallest amount of light. Its brilliance make it a worthy catch among trainers and collectors alike. Lakan Kalat, electric type. Lakan Kalat once protected the region from invaders that were going to destroy the region. As peace and prosperity flourished, Lakan Kalat took this form. Lakan means nobleman or ruler, and Kalat means lightning. It is the first legendary of the region. Lakan Kalat guardian form, electric and flying type. Lakan Kalat flies across the sky protecting the region from intense typhoons by absorbing it into itself. Sometimes Lakan Kalat releases extreme electricity from its body, causing thunderstorms. Lakan Dagat, water type. Ancient texts describe it as the guardian deity of the ocean surrounding the region. Lakan Dagat protects his ocean and severely punishes those who dare corrupt it. Lakan means nobleman or ruler, and Dagat means the sea. It is the second legendary of the region. Lakan Dagat guardian form, water and ice type. Once upon a time, the region once known as Tamala was battered by intense waves. It was then when Lakan Dagat arrived into the region and it calmed the ocean to a peaceful slumber. Lakan Lanog, ground type. Once Lakan Lanog summoned earthquakes by just taking one step. Now, instead of destruction, it summons forth gems and metals, bearing gifts to whomever it sees worthy. Lakan means nobleman or ruler, and Lanog means earthquake. It is the third legendary of the region. Lakan Lanog, guardian form, ground and fire type. Revered as the guardian deity of the earth, in the past Lakan Lanog set forth terrible earthquakes and volcanic eruptions when it feels the earth has been desecrated. If you have enjoyed this full Dex video, then why not check out some of my other full Dex region videos too.